Students, today we'll be forming and solving equations. That's our topic. So the learning objective is to be able to form equations from word problems and solve them. So what I'd like for you to make sure that you do is to write examples down, different types of examples down in your book, so that you'll have that to use when you're moving to do your independent work. So let's go to the next slide. Here are your 6 starter questions. Spend no more than 10 minutes attempting them, so pause the video and get that done. Once you are through, resume the video to check your answers. Here are your answers. Please mark your work, then move on to the next part of the lesson. Right, now we're going to look at writing and solving equations. So here's an example of how you can do questions like these. So it says Megan thought of a number x, she doubled it, then added 15. Her final answer is 27. So we need to write an equation for the information given, and then we need to find out what number she thought of. So we're just going to make some note of things that she did. First, she thought about a number x. Then she doubled that number and then added 15. Right, once she's finished that, she got an answer of 27. Okay, so we're going to start with the first thing she did to write her equation. That's she thought of x. When she doubles x, which is her second thing, it becomes 2x. Then number 3 is that she added 15. After finishing all of that, her answer is 27. So it means it's equal to 27, and that is the equation. Now we're just gonna solve that. So 2x plus 15 equal 27 to find out what number she thought of. So we subtract 15 first on both sides. 15 minus 15 is 0, so we're left with 2x, and then 27 minus 15 is 12. And then we can divide both sides by 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1, which gives us 1x, and then 12 divided by 2 is 6. So the number she thought of was 6. Here's another question that I'd like you to try. Pause the video, spend 2 minutes doing it. Once you have finished, resume the video to check the solution. Okay, so it says Jack thinks of a number. Say the number is B. So that's the first thing. He doubles it, which is the second thing. Then subtracted 10, which is the third thing. And his result is 14. So that's the fourth thing. So it starts with B. He doubles it, which is 2 times B. So we've done the first and the second. Then he subtracted 10, which is the third thing. And after doing that, he gets an answer of 14. So that's equal to 14. And our next part is to just solve. So 2b minus 10 is 14. So we'll keep our 2b at the moment and get rid of our minus 10. So we add 10 on both sides. Minus 10 plus 10 is 0. So we're just left with 2b. And on our right side, 14 plus 10 is 24. And then we divide both sides by 2. So 2 divided by 2 gives us 1. So we are left with 1b. And then 24 divided by 2 is equal to 12. So Jack thought of the number 12. Here's another problem which looks similar, but the wording is a little bit different. So we have to pay attention to the steps taken so we can identify what's the first thing that was done, the second, the third, the fourth. And if there are more steps, we keep in that order. So I said Tom thinks of a number. Let's call that number A. We don't know what it is, so we start with a letter and we are choosing A. So he thinks of the number A, which is the first thing. He adds 6 to it, which is the second thing. Then doubled the answer. That's the third thing, and his final result is the fourth thing. So he starts with A and then adds 6, because that's the second thing. It says he then doubled the answer. So after doing whatever number A is, adding 6 to it, he goes and doubles that. So it means therefore that we have doubled everything, or Tom has doubled everything, right? After doubling that, he stops there because it says his final result is 14. So that means all of what he's done, A plus 6, and then double that, is going to give us 14. And then all we need to do is solve. So now we've done questions with brackets before, so we should be able to solve. So first thing is to expand our bracket. 2 times A, 2A. Then 2 times 6 is 12, and that gives us 14. And now we will solve by subtracting 12 on both sides. 12 minus 12 is 0, gives us 2A on the left, and 14 minus 12 is 2. And then we'll just divide both sides by 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1, so we're left with 1A, and 2 divided by 2 is 1 on the right. So A is 1. So 1 is the number that Tom thought of. Okay, I'd like you to try this question on your own. Pause the video, 2 minutes, try the question, then once you're finished, resume the video to check for your answers. Okay, it says Andy thinks of a number. What number it is, we don't know. Let's call it P then. So that's the first thing he does. He then subtracted 6 from it. Subtracted 6, that's the second thing. Then doubled the answer is the third thing. And then from that his result is 8. So our fourth bit of information. So he starts with P, then subtracted 6. After subtracting 6, he then doubles that answer. So double all of P minus 6. And when he's through with that, he gets an answer of 8. So that's the equation. So now we're going to solve that. Expand the bracket first. 2 times P, 2P. 2 times minus 6 is minus 12. And we keep our equal 8. Then to solve, we'll add 12 on both sides, which gives us 2P on the left. And on the right, we would get 8 plus 12 is 20. Then we'll divide both sides by 2. And so we would end up with 2 divided by 2 is 1. So that leaves us with P. And 20 divided by 2 is equal to 10. So the number that Andy thought of was 10. Alright, let's look at this example, a different style of questioning. So it tells us that Kim is X years old. So I'm going to make a note of that. And it says Jack is older than Kim. He's 2 years older than Kim, so I'm going to make a note for an expression that would represent that, as we don't know either of their ages. So Jack is 2 years older. That means I'll take Kim's age, which is X, and add 2 to that. So I have both their ages now. The next part of the question says the sum of their ages is 24, and so we should find their ages. So what we have to do then is add Kim's age as Kim's age X plus Jack's age, which is X plus 2. When we add that together, we should get 24, because it says that their ages added together, the sum of their ages is 24. So that's our equation. So we can simplify that. X plus X gives us 2X, and then our 2 here should be written again because we haven't done anything to it, and then that's equal to 24. Then we can solve our equation. So we'll subtract 2 on both sides, and so 2 minus 2 is 0, so that leaves us with 2x on the left. 24 minus 2 is 22. All right, and then we can solve for x by dividing both sides by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1, so we have 1x on the left, and 22 divided by 2 is 11. So x is 11, and remember x represents Kim's age. The question asks us to work out their ages, so we need to say that Kim's age is 11, and then Jack's age is 11 plus 2, because he's 2 years older than Kim, so that's 13. So Kim is 11 years old and Jack is 13 years old. All right. Here is a bit of an extension now. So we have been looking at 2 people's ages. This question involves 3 people's ages. But let's read the question so we can build some understanding and answer the question. So it says, Alan is X years old. So I'll just make a note as we go along. Alan is X years old. Then Barry is 10 years younger than Alan. So Barry's 10 years younger than Alan. So we'll take Alan's age, subtract 10 from it to get Barry's age, because Barry's 10 years younger. And then it says Kevin is double Alan's age. So Kevin is twice Alan's age. So it's 2 times x. This is Alan's age. So doubling that would give us 2x, which is Kevin's age. It says the sum of their ages is 54. So when we add all 3 ages, we get 54. So it says we need to form an equation. So we're going to add Alan's age, because it said the sum of their ages, Alan's age plus Barry's age plus Kevin's age is equal to 54. We can't just leave it like that. We have to simplify it. So I'm just going to put this arrow to say I'm continuing to simplify. 1x plus 1x is 2x plus 2x gives us 4x. So we've simplified the x's, and then we're left with the minus 10. So we need to put that back. And that is equal to 54. So when I add all their ages, it's 4x minus 10. And that is a total of 54. It says solve the equation to work out Alan's, Barry's, and Kevin's age. So we'll take the equation that we got in part A, and we're going to solve it for x. So we'll add 10 to both sides, and we get minus 10 plus 10 is 0, left with 4x on the left. 54 plus 10 is 64. Then we will divide by 4 on both sides. So 4 divided by 4 is 1, leaves us with 1x. And 64 divided by 4 is 16. Now x is whose age? Yes, Alan's age. So Alan is 16 years old. And then Barry's age is going to be x minus 10, and we worked out x to be 16. So 16 minus 10 will give us 6. So therefore mean Barry is 6 years old. Finally, Kevin is twice Alan's age. Alan was x, so that means we do 2 times 16, which is 32. So Kevin is 32 years old. All right, so we just build our equation based on the word problem given, and then we can solve the equation. Okay, now we're at task 1. We've practiced writing equations from word problems and solving them. So now you're going to spend 15 minutes doing some questions. The description for task 1 is included in the show my homework description box. So you'll access the link, and you'll get the link for marking as well. Once you have finished doing that, resume the video for part 2 of the lesson. Now let's look at some solving equations problems which involve geometry. So our first question says write an equation for the sum of these angles. Okay, notice the angles are on a straight line. All right, so we know angles on a straight line add to 180. So to write our equation, we are gonna add these 3 angles because they should give us 180. So we write 3a plus 2a plus 4a is equal to 180 degrees. Then you can simplify your equation. 3a plus 2a plus 4a will give us 9a equal 180. And so that is your equation. The next part of the question says you should solve the equation to find the value of a. So we have our equation. 9a is equal to 180. A is being multiplied by 9, so to get a we have to do the inverse of that, which is to divide by 9, and whatever we do to the left we have to do to the right. So 9 divided by 9 is 1, so we're left with 1a. 180 divided by 9 is 20, so that means a is 20 degrees. Here's another example where we have angles on a straight line. So notice we have 3 angles here and angles on a straight line at 180. So we'll just add them and write our equation basically. So it's basically carrying on, just finding the equation of this straight, the angles on the straight line. So we just do 3x plus 3 plus 90 plus 5x minus 1. So those are the 3 angles that are on the straight line. When we add them, it's equal to 180 degrees. So we can simplify. 3x plus 5x will give me 8x. Then we have 3 plus 90 is 93, and then subtract 1 gives us 92. So we get positive 92, and that's equal to 180. Then we'll solve our equations. We'll subtract 92 on both sides first. 92 minus 92 is 0, so we're left with 8x. And then 180 minus 92 is 88. And then all we have to do now to find x is to divide by 8 on both sides. And so 8 divided by 8 gives us 1, so we're left with 1x. And 88 divided by 8 is 11. So then x is 11 degrees. If we're asked later on to work out the angles, or each of the angles that we don't know, we could just substitute 11 into the expression. So if we take this angle for example, and we wanted to find out what the size of that angle is, we just do 3x plus 3, then we substitute 11 there, so it's 3 bracket 11 plus 3, and 3 times 11 is 33, and when we add 3 more we get 36 degrees. So this angle would be worth 36 degrees. So we can work out the rest of the angles once we know what x is. Alright, so more geometry problems. We have vertically opposite angles now. So where we have straight lines intersecting, the opposite angles are equal, and they're called vertically opposite angles. You can make a note. And vertically opposite angles are equal. Okay, so it therefore means that this angle here and this angle here, they're equal to each other. So 7x minus 30 is equal to 117. So we have written an equation, and then we can also solve that equation to find out x. So let's do write the equation first, and then we can solve it for part B. So we add 30 to both sides. Minus 30 plus 30 is 0, so we're left with 7x. And 117 plus 30 is 147. Then we divide both sides by 7. 7 divided by 7 is 1 remain, so we're left with 1x, sorry. And then 147 divided by 7 is 21, so that's x is 21 degrees. Okay. Let's look at the other example. Again, vertically opposite, so they are equal to each other. So we can find the value of x. Okay, but we first need to write the equation. So let's do that for part A, writing the equation. So then 3x minus 18 is equal to 2x plus 2. And then for part B, we're just going to solve that equation to find x, alright? So I'm just rewriting the equation, and then we're going to solve. So we have x on both sides, so we've looked at solving equations with x on both sides. So our first step, we're going to take away 2x from both sides. 3x minus 2x leaves us with 1x, and the minus 18 remains. Then on the right side, 2x minus 2x is 0, so the plus 2 remains, so write positive 2. And then what we need to do is add 18 to both sides to get x. So minus 18 plus 18 is 0, leaves us with x, and then 2 plus 18 is 20, so x is 20 degrees. Here we have two other examples with geometry in our solving equations. So for the first one, we have a triangle and we want to find out what x is. So we know the sum of the angles in a triangle is 180. So that means the three angles, when we add them, is equal to 180 degrees. So we can write our equation 2x plus 3x plus x is equal to 180. We can simplify. 2x plus 3x plus 1x will give us 6x, and that's 180 degrees. Then we can divide both sides by 6, and so 6 divided by 6 is 1, so we're left with 1x, and 180 divided by 6 is 30. So therefore it means that x is equal to 30 degrees. If we wanted to find out the size of each angle, we know this x here is 30 degrees, and then x needs to be 30 here, so 2 times 30 will give us 60, and here 3 times 30 will give us 90. If we add all three of these angles together, 90 plus 60 is 150, and add 30 more, 180. So therefore means we have done our calculation correctly. Okay, let us look at number 2 example. Now we have a quadrilateral with 4 angles that are unknown, and we need to find out y. So we're going to add all 4 angles, and we know when we add the 4 angles in a quadrilateral, it's equal to 360 degrees. Sum of the angles in a quadrilateral, 360 degrees. So we're going to add all 4 angles, y plus 20, these two, then y plus 10, then 2y, and those 4 angles is equal to 360 degrees. We'll simplify, so we have 1y plus 1y gives us 2y, plus 1 more y, 3y, plus 2 more y is 5y. Then 20 plus 10 is 30, so we have plus 30 equal to 306 degrees. Then we can solve for y, so we can subtract 30 on both sides. So 30 minus 30 is 0, leaves us with 5y. And then 360 minus 30 is 330. Then we divide both sides by 5, divide both sides by 5, and then we can work out y. 5 divided by 5 is 1, so we're left with 1y, and then 330 divided by 5 is 66. So that's the value of y. So this angle here is 66 degrees. And if we want to work out this angle here, we'd have to do 66 plus 20, which is 86 degrees. If we wanted to work out this angle here, it would have been 66 plus 10, which is 76 degrees. And if we wanted to work out this angle here, it would be 2 times 66, which is equal to 132. Let's write that down. Degrees. Here are some questions they're gonna try. So the bronze questions are the top row, the silver questions the bottom row. Spend 15 minutes attempting these questions. So pause the video, do the questions, then resume to check your answers. Here are your answers for bronze. Here are your answers for silver. Please mark your work. Alright, remember you should be showing working, and then once you finish marking, resume, and we'll move on to the next part of the lesson. right? We're going to look at solving equations involving the perimeter of shapes, which still is underneath geometry. So for the first question, we have a triangle. It says if the perimeter of the triangle is 25 centimeters, find the value of x. So we need an equation, so we'll start with that. Perimeter is to add all the sides, so we'll start with x plus 4 plus x plus 6. Those are the three sides. And when we add them, it says the perimeter is 25, so that means it's equal to 25. We'll simplify 1x plus 1x 2x plus 1x 3x. And then 6 and 4 added together is 10. And so we get that is equal to 25. Then we'll solve, so we minus 10 from both sides. And so 10 minus 10, 0. So we have 3x. And on the right side, 25 minus 10 is 15. Divide by 3 on both sides, and so we end up with 1x is equal to 5, and that is the value of x. Now here's another perimeter question, a compound shape. We know we add all the sides for perimeter anyway. We have two missing sides. We have this length that is missing, but from this point to this point it's 12, looking at the base of the shape. So if from this end to here is 7b, then to get to 12 we need 5b. So this length here that we need is 5b. Okay, and then we are missing this length as well, but from the base to the top it's a total of 10. Coming from the base to this point we have 6b, and so to get up to 10b we need 4b, so it means this length here is 4b. all right, so it says the perimeter is 88, so we need to find b. All we need to do is just add all the sides and make it equal to 88. So I'm going to start from 10b, so 10b plus, going clockwise, 5b plus 4b plus 7b plus 6b plus 12b. All of those sides should add to give 88. As the question says, the perimeter is 88. Then we simplify. All of these are b's, so we just add them. 10 plus 5, 15, plus 4, 19, plus 7, 26, 26 plus 6 is 32, and 32 plus 12 is 44. So we get 44b is equal to 88. Then all we need to do now to solve for b is divide by 44 on both sides. And so 44 divided by 4 is 1, so we're left with 1b, and 88 divided by 44 is 2, so then b is 2. Shapes problem again. A rectangle has a length which is 5 centimeters longer than its width, and the perimeter is 26. So it's perimeter question. Let's just make a sketch to give us an idea of what we're working with. So we have the width and we have the length. It says that the length is 5 centimeters longer than the width. So let's call the width x. all right, and so if our length is 5 centimeters longer, it means that the length is going to be x plus 5. So here are our lengths that we need, and it says the perimeter is 26, so that means we need to include the opposite side and the opposite sides of both length and width. So now we just write our equation: x plus 5 plus x plus 5, and that perimeter is equal to 26. So we can simplify 1x, 2x, 3x, 4x, and then 5 plus 5 is equal to 10, so 4x plus 10 is equal to 26. And then all we now need to do is solve the equation. As it says, find an equation for the perimeter, which we have here, and then now it says find the value of the width, and we said the width is going to be represented by x. Okay, so we're solving for x, so 4x plus 10 is equal to 26. Subtracting on both sides, so that gives us 4x on the left and 16 on the right. Then we divide by both sides by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1, so we have 1x. 16 divided by 4 is 4, so then the width is 4 centimeters. Okay, so therefore means the length will also be 9 centimeters, because it's 4 plus 5, as the length is 5 centimeters longer. Now this question applies area to solving equations. It says the area of the rectangle is 39 meters squared, and we need to write an equation for the area of the rectangle. Okay, so we know that area is equal to length times width for a rectangle. So therefore means we need to multiply these two, length times width. And so we write 3 bracket k plus 2, because 3 is multiplying all of that. And it says the area is equal to 39, so we just write equal 39, and that is our equation. Then the other part says find the value of k, so we just need to solve the equation. So this is our equation, and now we're just gonna solve over this side. 3 bracket k plus 2 is equal to 39 brackets, so we have to expand our brackets, so we get 3k plus 6 is equal to 39. Then we subtract 6 on both sides to get 3k on the left and 33 on the right. Then we divide both sides by 3, so 3 divided by 3 is 1, so we're left with 1k, and 33 divided by 3 is 11, so k is 11. Okay, here's another area problem, this time with the triangle. So we have to write down the formula for the area of the triangle: base times height divided by 2 is the area of the triangle. Alright, the height on our triangle is x plus 1, sorry, and the base is 7. Okay, we want to work out x, and x is in the height. So what we can do is substitute first. So a area is 21, the base is 7, and multiply by the height, which is x plus 1, and that's divided by 2 for the area of the triangle. Okay, so what we can do next is to multiply both sides by 2 to get rid of this denominator of 2. Okay, so 21 times 2 is 42, right? And then when we multiply 7 times x plus 1 over 2 by 2, the 2's will cancel and leave you with 7 times x plus 1. You don't need to put the multiply sign there, because we know that when we put brackets beside a number, we are to multiply them. So we have a brackets question to solve now. Here's our equation that we came up with. So we'll expand the brackets on our right side, so we'll get 7x plus 7, that's equal to 42. Then we can subtract 7 on both sides, so 7 minus 7 is 0, so we're left with 7x, and then 42 minus 7 is 35, and then we can divide both sides by 7. 35 divided by 7 is 5, and 7 divided by 7 is 1, so we're left with 1x. So therefore means that x is equal to 5. Right, so that's how we do that sort of question. It's just substituting and then solving our equation that we are left with. Right, here's the last task for this lesson. So you'll spend 15 minutes doing the first 6 questions, and if you are through before the 15 minutes, then do questions 7 and 8, which are extension problems. Once you're finished, resume the video to check your answers. Here are the answers to the tasks you just did. Mark your work, and then once you're through, take photos of what you've done today and submit to Show My Homework for feedback. Thank you, and have a lovely day.